Hello, Mordimer is here, and welcome to Clutch Chess International 2020, another game from another match. And this time I would like to show you, I think, one of the most exciting games and match between Alexander Grischuk from Russia, who is quite a chess veteran, 36 years old, huge experience. He's number 7 in the world in the rapid time control. He's ranking 2784, and his opponent Levon Aronian from Armenia. Also veteran, 37 years old, and his rapid ranking 2778. That means number 8 in the world. So very close. And Levon Aronian in the interview after was laughing that that sometimes he eliminates Sasha, sometimes Sasha eliminates him in many tournaments. So they know, they really know each other. And very exciting game, especially Aronian was winning 7-5. Okay, he was on the lead 7-5 before last 2 clutch games, and each clutch game was awarded 3 points. So still we have the situation where Alexander Grischuk gonna play as white, and he has to win. Okay, if he wins, he gonna have 8 points, so it would be 8-7. That's the situation, and then the last game he can draw. And for Aronian, he just need 2 draws, you know, to qualify to semi-finals. But you will see what happened on the board. These were the most exciting games, in my opinion, in this tournament. So without further ado, let's see what happened in the first clutch game. We have d4 by Grischuk, knight on f6, c4, e6, knight on c3, and now d5. Of course, queen's gambit declined. This is possible. However, Aronian goes for bishop on b4, so we have Nimzo Indian defense. e3, the most popular move. We have also castle, bishop on d3, and now d5 is still possible, goes for Ragozin defense. However, c5. So Aronian goes for Nimzo India defense, the most, you know, normal variation. We have knight on e2 instead of knight on f3, knight on e2, which is also playable. We have c takes on d4, e takes on d4, and now d5. So white gonna play with isolated queen pawn, which is for many people, it's, you know, like it's a weakness. However, if you are very active, it can be also a very big strength. It can be the trampoline for your pieces, you know, to continue. And sometimes this pawn even can become the passed pawn. We have c takes on d5, knight takes on d5, and now not castle, which is the most popular and obvious move here, but bishop on c2 by Alexander Grischuk. And Aronian said in the interview that he loves to play against Grischuk, against Carlsen, because these players are very creative and they create the new ideas in chess, and it's very challenging and enjoyable, you know, instead of playing, you know, the same boring drawing openings. So we have bishop on c2 with the very simple idea, of course, queen on d3. Knight on c6, we have queen on d3, and now of course g6 is the most obvious move. However, last days shows us that if there are no bishop on g7, then h4, h5, you know, and attacking on the queen position can be very dangerous. So we have queen on h4 by Levon Aronian, pretty creative, now defending h7, but that's the beginning of the troubles. We have bishop on g5, now developing with tempo, attacking the queen. Bishop cannot be taken because we still have a checkmate on h7. Queen on h5, and now g4, harassing the queen. Queen on g6, and now queen d2, still harassing the queen, and of course the bishop is defended. So we have f5 by Levon Aronian, and now rook g1, and we have one move in the database, king h8. This is the move in the database. White won that game, so already a lot of initiative here. However, Levon Aronian doesn't like it, okay? He also could try queen on f7 or something. I will just show you. G takes on f5, now bishop h6. This is one of the ideas here, and it looks really unpleasant for black already. So instead, Levon decided to play e5, attacking this pawn. He tries to complicate the things. The problem is now this knight is, you know, without protection. For now, it cannot be taken because of this pin. But also, this bishop can go to b3 and stay on this diagonal, which can be very, very annoying. For now, we have g takes on f5, which is, of course, forced. Bishop on f5. Now, bishop on b3, moving the bishop on this diagonal. Bishop e6, countering. And here, actually, Grischuk could go for bishop on h6. Bishop h6, and then after exchanging, for example, moving the queen, then rook on g7. Rook on g7, and black are just in troubles, okay? Black have to move the king, just castle and continue the attack. And this is very strong attack, difficult to defend. However, Grischuk goes for the exchange. He prefers the exchange, you know, it's much better for him. So he play bishop on e7, attacking the rook and attacking the queen. We have queen on f5, and now just exchange the rook for the bishop, and now castle. And in the center there is quite some, you know, complicated situation. So Levon Aronian exchange some of the pieces. We have knight on c3, now bishop on e6 with check, queen on e6, and now b takes on c3, bishop a3, king on b1, and now rook f2, so winning the pawn. And now we have d5, attacking the queen and the knight. Of course, black can play something like queen on f5 with check, king a1, and now knight a5. It looks like better for black would be to play something like knight on b8 and then block this pawn and play with the blockade. Okay, this is pretty nice located knight with defending e5, so it's very, very elastic piece. So that probably would be the better idea. However, we have knight on a5, and after d6, knight goes to c6. So not blocking the pawn is just running. Okay, d7, as you see, very fast central pawn, and it's just deadly. This pawn gonna win the game or not. Let's see. We have bishop on e7, queen on d5 with check, queen on f7, and here knight on g3 by Alexander Grischuk. And here Levon Aronian exchange some of the pieces as white get too much initiative. So queen on d5, rook on d5, and now king on f7. So the plan for black is simple: win this pawn because it cannot be supported by the pieces. We have rook on f1 now, asking maybe you want to exchange the rooks. Levon Aronian agrees, as there will be no support for this pawn. So rook on f1, knight on f1, and king on e6. So you know the justice is coming. c4, bishop on d8 first, and now king on b2, so bringing also the king to the game. But black king is already in the center. We have knight on b5, so now the pawn gonna be taken and it cannot be defended. So much work, but this pawn did his job. Now we have knight on g3. It looks like pretty normal move. And where is this knight moving? G6 probably was the best idea here, because after G6 the knight cannot jump to these squares and for example have to play something like knight on e4 and only then take the pawn, exchange maybe the knights, but maybe for the bishop, and continue this game. And black actually have two pawns and the knight for the rook. It's still better for white, but black have some counterplay. Okay, this king maybe can support the pawn. The knight can be very, very tricky. This could be the idea, but Levon Aronian decided to take the pawn immediately. So we have knight on d7 and now knight f5. Knight f5, what to do now? If you take the knight, the rook takes the knight and also attacks more pawns on the 7th rank, so that is the problem. Probably bishop on f6 would be the best idea here, okay? And then after rook on d6, exchange the knights. And now first maybe e4 with check, so that's a move with tempo. This passed pawn can be dangerous. King c2, now b6. And what is the position here? the bishop can defend the b6 pawn, okay, so it's pretty solid, and the king can, you know, try to support the pawn. White probably just gonna move, you know, to e2 and win the game. However, it's not so easy, you know, to win. White is of course better and will probably find the way, but black can try to create some kind of fortress here. So this was the best idea. However, we have knight on b6 with attack on the rook and attack on the pawn, which makes quite some sense. However, now white have two ways of winning that. So first one is rook on d8, just take the bishop, and after king on f5, play king c3 and go to catch this knight. This knight is catch, okay? If you play something like king on e4, let's say king b4, and now a4, a5 is coming, okay? Let's say a6, a4, and now a5 is coming, so just exchange this knight for the pawn. That's all, and white of course is winning. And if trying to escape, cannot escape to the, you see, everything is covered by the rook. So if trying to escape this way, it also doesn't work, okay? Now this knight cannot escape anywhere, so again this is winning. So this was one way of treating the situation, but we have knight on g7 by Grischuk, which also wins and actually is very, very similar. So king on e7, now knight on f5 with check, king on e6, rook on d8, and now king on f5. We have king on c3, so going after the knight now, and now knight on a4, and here actually Levon Aronian found the way how to escape with the knight. So we have knight on a4, king on b4, and now b5, okay, c takes on b5, and now knight b6, okay, so this way the knight is protected, is blocking the pawn, so it's a pretty okay. But of course a4 is coming, king on e6, a5, knight on d5, now support from the rook, and here king on c5, knight on f6, we have b6, a takes on b6, a takes on b6, and in this position Levon Aronian resigned the game. And he resigned because he cannot do anything about this marching pawn. So let's say knight on d7 with check, and white, the easiest way is just to give back the exchange, go after these pawns, and let's say this way, and win the pawn. And there is one tempo which black needs to draw that game. However, now white gonna just move to g6 and promote the pawn and win the game. If it's one tempo less, let's say this way, I would just like to show you this is only one tempo, and now black could draw the game. The idea for black is move the king here, so white cannot give away this h8. But how to do that? If play like this, then the king only just follow, and it's nothing can be done here, okay? This is just a draw. And if white tries to bring the pawn, also doesn't really matter, because white just cannot, you know, move here. This is enough. This is all enough. The king always will find the way to h8. So that would be a draw. However, as I said, in this position, king g6 and this pawn could march. So Levon Aronian knew that all and then resigned. So Sasha Grischuk, congratulations, 3 points. 3 points, so 8-7. He had to win as white, and he won. And in next game, Levon Aronian gonna play white, and he has to win as well. This is why it was so exciting and very, very close encounter. And Levon Aronian said, like, I eliminated Sasha many times in the tournaments. He eliminated me many times in the many tournaments during our career. So that's gonna be also exciting. So if you don't want to miss that, press subscribe, smash the bell button. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.